Hi guys, Luton here, and today, Star Wars Battlefront, should you purchase it? Now, I've been making this Hype Wars videos for some time now, this series, and it's winding up to a close because, of course, the game is releasing. So everyone is wondering, should I get the game? Now, why should you get any AAA title game? Why should you buy any game that's $60 or £50 or whatever it is that you're going to pay for it? Why would you get it? Because you want to play a game which is enjoyable to you. So you have to make that decision for yourself. Is the game worth it? Is it going to be enjoyable to you? I think the game has been largely showcased. I think everyone has a really good impression of what that game is about. So at this stage, you should understand what those things are and you know, is that something that's very important to you? The game is a fun, blastery, you know, very high graphics game. It looks cool. It sort of sits very well within the universe of Star Wars. There's a massive nostalgia factor for a lot of people. I mean, but with any Star Wars game, there have been a lot of Star Wars games out, and all of them have played to the fact that, you know, you get to be the characters, you get to do this, you get to do that, you get to play within the world of Star Wars, you get to use the guns, you get to use the equipment, you get to do this. You know, we've got all of the different game modes there. You've got Walker Assault, you've got the heroes in there. Like I said, the amazing graphics. You can customize your class up and change it around. You can have a battle of like 40-40 or 8v8. You have to decide for yourself the value there. And the value really, with any game, comes with the longevity. That's the key focus. I think anybody would probably have a lot of fun with this game, but the decision if you were going to make the decision about buying the game, I would say base your decision around longevity. Base it around how long do I think I will be playing this game for. And that's like with any game. When I have colleagues and people who are not gamers come to me and they say like, oh, did you get any new games? And I say, oh yeah, I got this. Oh, what did that cost you? It was like 45, 50 pounds. What? And they freak out because they're like, that is so much money. And it's like, yeah, it sounds like a lot of money, but it's not a lot of money when you compare it to the amount of time you place into that thing, right? Now, for example, some of my friends this week have been playing Fallout 4. Many people have been clocking already like 30, 40 hours. Now, when you go out to watch a film at a cinema or go to a club, what are you going to pay? Like, let's just do it in pounds. Like, if you're paying like £9, £10, maybe £15, maybe you get sort of 2-3 hours enjoyment there. Well, if you're paying 4 times that, then you're going to expect like 12, 15 hours, you know, whatever, how many hours you're going to get there. Well, games comparatively can have 10 times as much enjoyment out of and longevity out of, and that's really where the balance of value comes in, right? Now, as well, like I've said many times before, personal value is something that nobody can really determine. What is something worth to you? You know, something that I might deem is worth £100 to buy, another person wouldn't even give 10 pence for, you know? So it depends on what your personal things are, you know, what do you think is the value? It also is going to determine slightly on your personal income. You know, some person might think it's 100% worth it. If you don't have a lot of disposable income, you're probably going to be a lot more wary about just blowing money on one thing left and right. Maybe you can only afford like 2-3 games a year or whatever. Another person can buy every single game that comes out. That's just a fact of life. So everybody has to determine for themselves the value of things. Now, when it comes to longevity for this game, how can we determine, how can we make a good estimation of how long is this game going to last for? Well, for one thing, think about the community, how appealing that's going to be there. We saw with Hardline, you know, the game sort of died off quickly with PC. It kind of hemorrhaged, to be honest, and there were, I think, many factors there. The way in which the game played, some of the level design, it wasn't kind of what people expected, the focus on craziness, the fact that some people were kind of just doing bullshit from the start and it kind of didn't really gel, but there's a ton of factors, and I think even now nobody's really sort of got to grips with exactly why that was. But on the console, we still see a fairly good sort of strength of player base there, right? So again, I think Battlefront is going to be an immensely popular game for the consoles, Xbox, PlayStation. This game is going to be solid. I would have no concerns whatsoever about that. The PC is a slight more of a question mark. I think that this game will do well because, like as I've said, you know, I think that the thing is with this game, it's a kind of like, it's a casual game, but in a kind of good way, I suppose. I don't mean it in like a negative connotation, because I think with Battlefront, what you're going to have, it's not like going to be a primary game where you like hardcore it through like day in and day out. It's going to be the kind of game where you sort of play, of course, that you get the classic, exclude the classic 2-week period, right? The classic 2-week period where everyone's like, gotta play. Of course, we all do that, okay? The first 2 weeks where everyone's like hyped and, you know, really excited and you want to grind it out. Everybody does that. But past that point, how much are you going to play it? Well, probably it's going to be the kind of game that you sort of pick up in between, just when there's friends around. You say, hey guys, you want to get some Battlefront? Let's get in there. Yeah, bash out a few rounds or something like that. That's going to be the way this game plays. And so I can probably see that this will retain its audience there, because I think many people are going into it expecting that it's not going to be their primary focal title. They're going to probably be playing other things, and this will be a game that they play around that. So with the PC, it's more of a question mark than the consoles, but I still feel that ultimately it will do well for at least 6 months. Beyond that, I can't say, because you really can't determine how people are going to receive the game. So that's a question mark for PC. Consoles, I wouldn't be worried about whatsoever. So those are the things you really need to be considering. Does it have enough content? Does it have enough longevity? And what is the value to me personally? If someone asked me, should I buy the game? If he wanted my personal opinion, I would say yes, get the game. But would I say get the season pass? I would say no, don't get the season pass. So I've highlighted this already. So I would say I think this game is worth it. I think it's about on the money. I wouldn't pay more. I think this game is about on the money. I think it looks good. It plays as smoothly as you would want. Hopefully there'll be some refinements and tweaks just as the game comes out. I think balance-wise, DICE have always been pretty decent at balancing. We'll have to see. A lot of people, actually, just to say on balance, a lot of people were talking about the Walker Assault and how it was really imbalanced to one side or whatever. I actually don't think that was the case. I actually think it was very winnable from both sides. The only problem was that one side had an advantage in that it required less teamwork. Okay, if you were defending on Walker Assault, you require teamwork, only in the same way with Rush. Okay, with Rush in Battlefield, if you have a team of defenders who are not really doing anything, they will get steamrolled, even by just like a crazy bunch of randoms. Okay, it's just the way it goes. So I think the balance is actually there. I just think that the community overall is something that we don't see there. So if you're expecting super tactical team play, probably think again, because this is a game where people just want to kind of run around and go crazy blasting, and you kind of have to just roll with it, right? So I would just keep that in mind. But yeah, if somebody said to me, should I get the game? I'd say yes, probably. If you weren't sort of, if you were weighing it up between like 2 or 3 other games, I'd have to hear what those other games were. But I mean, ultimately, I would suggest to people to get the game and try it out. It seems like a fun blaster. It's probably the best looking Star Wars game I've ever seen. They've tried to provide a good range of content, and there is obviously the DLC later down the line, if at that stage you feel it's worth extending the lifespan. Now, just to mention lastly on that DLC, obviously they're talking, we haven't got sort of tons of details about what that's going to be, probably some more maps, probably some more weapons, just the classic stuff, right? When it comes to DLC, I'm very much in that old school mentality, which is that I believe DLC content should be provided for a community that is expectant of more content. So once they've played the game for like 5 months or something, and the developer is like, okay, these guys are ready for more, throw it out then. Don't pre-plan it, because you're, essentially getting people to spend on an expectation which might not be fulfilled. Maybe the audience dies off, whatever, and then if you've paid out for that DLC at that point, suddenly you're not going to actually have any people to play that DLC with, which is exactly what's happened on Battlefield Hardline. So I would say, yes, get this game, but consider the season pass very carefully. If you have 100% confidence that this is going to be, you're going to play this till the end of time and that people are going to do the same, knock yourself out, go for it. But personally, I would just purchase the game and then wait and see what happens. That's my thoughts, guys, on should I purchase Star Wars Battlefront. Tell me yours down below in the comments. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time and all this week for the Star Wars hype spam, which will continue all through the week. Thank you very much, guys. See you then.